Have you ever wanted to drive as fast as you can on a racetrack? Well, you can, and just for a few $100s. And if you're a beginner, you get an instructor who's in the car with you every lap of the way.
While you're going slow, get a lot of that rotation done. So as you begin to go back to throttle, you don't have to...
And believe me, you need an instructor, because driving fast is much more difficult than you think. It's rather humbling at first, but by the end of the day, it's amazing how much you learn. And that's why no matter where you live in the country, there's at least one company in the area that provides high-performance driver education, or HPDE. I've been on a few of these now, and I'm going to show you what they're like, as well as everything you need to know before your first track day, in hopes that you'll sign up for one soon. After doing some research, I chose Apex Driving Academy. They're based at Motorsports Ranch in Crescent, Texas, but they have events at several tracks, including one in Oklahoma. And no, I'm not sponsored by Apex, and they don't give me free track time, though I wish they would. MSR is about 25 minutes south of downtown Fort Worth. These events start early, so some bring along an RV and camp out in the paddock. Driver check-in begins at 7 a.m. And after you sign your waiver, you'll get a wristband that's color-coded by class, and a sticker for your car that's also coded by class. And you'll be assigned a number, which you can make out of painter's tape. Then there's a mandatory driver safety meeting at 7:30. The first on-track session is at 8. As the name implies, a track day is typically one day, but a couple times a year, Apex puts on a Saturday and Sunday event, and most of this video was shot at one of those. For this weekend, there were over 100 cars and drivers here, in 6 or 7 classes. We'll be using all 3 of the MSR layouts. HPED drivers get 4 sessions on each of the 3 tracks. This is the first time that novice drivers, like me, have been allowed to drive the 3.1 version. On a normal track day, we just run the 1.7 layout. This is the track schedule. There are 3 HPDE classes: Novice, Intermediate, and Advanced. Novice and intermediate drivers get a ride-along instructor, and those instructors get their own track sessions. Novice and intermediate drivers also have mandatory classroom time, so there's not a lot of downtime. It's a very busy day. Instructors are the first on track. At 8 o'clock, we novices have to be in the classroom. We won't be on track until 8:40. They start with the basics, and you'll be surprised at how much stuff you have to learn, and really how much stuff you have to unlearn. Because things that work on the street don't really work on the track. For example, your driving position. Straight arms aren't good on track. Bent arms give you much more leverage on the wheel. Then he goes over the track layout to make sure you know where the flag stands are. And of course you have to know what each of the flags mean, and you have to obey them. Then they start talking about driveline fundamentals. There's a lot more to it than you might think. Your instructor will drive your car first to show you the line. And after a few laps, it'll be your turn. The entire first session is run under yellow, which means there's no passing. In the next classroom session, you'll learn how to pass and how to be passed. There are rules and procedures for both, and you can't move up to the intermediate class until you've proven that you can perform them properly. After the classroom, there's only about 20 minutes before the first session, and one of the things they tell you is how to prep the car. First off, everything has to be out of it. Spare tire, any loose items, sunglasses, anything else you may have in your car has to be removed, because at speed, they fly around. That includes everything in the trunk. And I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but your car also has to pass an inspection checklist. They give you that list when you sign up for the track day. Your tires have to be in good condition, and they don't have to be track tires. And also your battery has to be tied down so it doesn't flop around. The rules are for your safety and for everyone else's on the track. And brakes are really important. You have to have good brake pads with at least 50% of their life left, good rotors, and even good brake fluid. It has to be no more than 6 months old in .4 or higher. Normal street pads take quite a beating on the track, and so do your tires. All your expendables will wear much more quickly when you're driving hard, especially when you almost lose the back end. So for that, and for insurance reasons, they take inspections very seriously. Woo. By now, you may be wondering what kind of car you need. Well, really, you can have just about anything, as long as it's not electric. There are lots of high horsepower cars out here, and even actual race cars, but you don't need to have one of those to have fun. Miatas are great track cars. The new ones are about 10 seconds a lap faster than my lowly Boxster. And the old ones, which are often modified, with a good driver can compete with just about anything out here. I often have to give a pointing pass-by to a new Miata. They're remarkably fast cars. And at first, I was rather upset by this until I realized how good these things really are. I just wish I fit in them. With the helmet on, I can't even close the top. And with the top down, my head is several inches above the roll bar. The main reason I bought the Boxster is because I fit in it. It's just that simple. If I had to do it all over again, I'd consider one of these, a GR86 or BRZ. They're basically the same car. They have more horsepower, have modern tech like traction control, and they're about 10 seconds a lap faster, with much better seats, and they're much cheaper to maintain. So you've completed your first classroom session, you've emptied your car, and maybe had a look around at some of the other cars. Well, now it's time to meet your instructor. He's been told what kind of car you have and what your car number is. Get to know him and tell him about your driving experience and what your goals are, and learn a little bit about him. I've had several instructors. Some were young and in their 20s or maybe early 30s, and others have been, well, older. But they all have been extremely good and very knowledgeable, with a strong desire to make you a fast and safe driver. Now let's talk a little bit about safety gear. Of course, you need a helmet, either a full face or an open face like the one I bought. But before you buy a helmet, you can also rent them from Apex. They're $25 a day, and that's what I did for the first several sessions. You don't need a full fire retardant race suit. I'm usually in shorts and a t-shirt. On my first track day, I was grabbing the wheel so hard I actually got a blister on my hand. So since then, I've been wearing driving gloves. These are actually pilot's gloves that I got at an Army-Navy store, but they work great. And they're fire resistant because they're made of Nomex. At least 5 minutes before your start time, head out to the pre-grid. And remember, your first session begins, if you're a novice driver, with your instructor at the wheel to show you the driving line and to show you where all the flag stands are. Remember, this first session is a yellow session, which means there's no passing. But all the other sessions will be green. At least they will be until somebody goes off the track. And in the novice session, that just might happen. One reason I've chosen to show you this particular shot is, well, on this day, it was raining. These track days go on rain or shine, though the track will be shut down when lightning is detected within 10 miles of the track.
Take it real easy on the first go around. Let's just confirm everything that you told us.
They want you to point out the flag stands, which is what I just did.
Yep, you got it.
As you probably suspect, rain makes the track very slippery. Even when it's damp like this, there's a lot less grip out there. Your lap time will be 20, maybe even 30 seconds slower than it would be on a dry track. But rain isn't necessarily a bad thing. The first time I went to ECR, Eagles Canyon Raceway near Decatur, it was raining. And that meant there was absolutely no pressure on me to get a fast lap time. So I spent my time on really learning the track, where the turn-in points are, where the braking points were. In the end, I think the rain was actually a good thing for me on that day. Rain is also a bit of a horsepower equalizer. It means I didn't have to look in the rearview mirror for the really fast guys. They were having just as much trouble as I was. And by the end of the day, I was passing them. On the first session of the day, the instructor will do just 1 or 2 laps, and then it's your turn.
I brought that seat forward.
And your instructor will talk you around the track.
Now you're looking ahead to your apex. And don't worry about going fast. Just
I'm going to let this guy behind me. Oh, there's 2 of them behind me now.
well, they can't really pass because of the yellow flags. So now, here, and look ahead, see the clean area? That's where you're going, not where the black is, out here, way out there, and back over, okay? Don't worry about them. And coming in here, and again, you can see the clean area, brake, start looking ahead to your cone, but see how it's clean, and you want to be in tighter. There, nice and smooth, and out. There you go. Same thing here. So you can see where the clean is. Brake harder, harder. You want to scrub off that speed before you get to the corner in these kind of conditions, okay?
You can see how slippery it is out here. I was only doing about 40 miles an hour.
Looking ahead.
The mid-engine car almost went around.
Nice and smooth. Let it run out a bit. There we go. looking ahead to your apex. See how you're about 5 or 6 feet off of that? Let it run out. You can see the clean area here. Looking at your apex. Now start looking up at the track and look for your clean area. Way out here.
They don't want you to worry about lap time in these first sessions. There's just way too much to learn. And that's also why I just left it in third gear the whole way. So I didn't have to worry about shifting gears and matching revs on downshifts.
Nice and smooth. Now looking up the track. And again, your clean area is way out here.
The 20-minute sessions go pretty quickly. And at the flag stand, they're waving the checkered flag, which means it's time to go in. When the track is dry, you're going much faster and it puts much more wear on the brakes, the tires, and the engine. So you take a cool down lap after the checkered flag. But there was no reason to do that today because our speeds were so low.
Don't put your elbow on the door. There is a safety reason why not. We can go all the way into your parking spot. So running an elbow here on your door, it becomes a subconscious thing, right? You don't even think about it. But if you were to ever get into an accident, chances are, especially if a rollover or something like that's involved, well, now your arm is up there and it's right in harm's way.
Okay, well, spun again.
Okay, so I want you to just do a little bit of, do you ever use visualization?
Yeah.
Okay, so just think about the stuff that I was saying, kind of go around the track and look at where, I want you to think about where the clear areas are, the clean areas on the track, and where the apex cones are.
Be on the line, so that's where I'm getting confused.
What was that?
We say the line is different than when it's wet. It's farther out when it's.
Actually, I'm taking you kind of on the dry line.
Okay.
Now we have a 20-minute break until our next classroom session, which gives you some time to swap stories with other drivers. In our next track session, passing is allowed. So we have to learn how to do that and where we can do that. It's only allowed on the straights. And you have to give the person behind you a point by before they can pass you, and you have to see the point by before you can pass them. Then the instructor will give you more advanced techniques. Here, he's showing us how to do a late apex turn. It allows you to get on the gas pedal sooner. It was still raining for the second session, which meant once again I had to be very careful around the corners.
Squeeze it on and let it come way out there.
God, that is really not what I.
And I only had 180 horsepower, which in the wet can be an advantage. Compared to that car ahead of me, that Corvette that just pulled off, it has over 500 or 600, whatever they have. And that's a GTR in front of me, which also has about 500 horsepower. In the wet, they're a real handful.
Keep your same line.
Again, I'm listening very intently to the instructor, but look how slow the speeds are.
Right this little bit.
Yeah, and just do what's comfortable, like especially with it being wet. Now make sure you follow your line.
Yeah, see, that was, I was looking there now. I have
Now,
to look forward.
Look ahead up there. Because look at where he's way off. You don't want to be watching his line.
You notice that the other instructor is teaching him to take the wet line, whereas my instructor is teaching me to take the dry line.
Now looking at your apex and looking to track out and let it go way out.
The track out is huge. God. And that's what was binding up the car in the 1.3, which I did just a couple of months ago. I think I was holding it way too tight. That's why I wasn't getting any speed.
And it throws, that's what leads to spins and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Watching your line.
And
And let it squeeze it on nice and gentle, and out you go. Go, 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 go. And brake. And in nice and tight. And just straddle this line next time, okay?
What I wasn't doing before was setting this corner up by going outside.
You let yourself get a little wide here.
I was trying not
I'm thinking about making a pass around this guy, but I can't do it now because I can only do it on one of the
Now,
straights.
looking ahead. Don't be looking at him. Let it come way out.
And the straights are coming up.
way out.
And then start squeezing. and look to track
Wait for
out.
the point
and
by.
there you go.
And now I can go.
That's the GTR, kids. I have no idea how happy that makes me.
A little later, when it's dry, I'll be going through this corner at 70 miles an hour.
Now, looking at your apex, and now start looking at track out. Try not to lift like that mid corner, okay? Squeeze it on. There you go.
That's another incredibly slow
Try not to
lap.
let it go out too far. Brake, brake, brake.
For the next session, the conditions were even worse. Somebody had dropped some oil
little
right
bit
on the
early,
turn-in
or
point
late-
to this important
later
corner.
than
So I'm not going to show you any of that. For complicated reasons, I went out with the intermediate group. This gave me the ability to practice giving point buys to cars that are
Okay, right
much
away, get a
faster.
pie. Slow down just a bit. There you go. Awesome.
Even slowing down to let the other guys pass me, my lap time is still 30 seconds faster than it was when it was wet. Then the car had another problem. There was a weird rumbling coming from the left front.
You might want to check your front end.
What do you mean?
That you feel when you're on right-hand corners under load. That might be a ball joint or something.
It turns out it was something simple. It was the inner wheel well liner. A friend in the Porsche Club, who also has the same Boxster, had the same problem, and he also has a lift at home. So I brought it over to his house, removed the liner, and now the car's just fine. No expensive repair this time. A good instructor will remember your bad habits and then tell you about them so that you can correct them.
No, actually that was good. What I did notice is that you're, especially when you've got higher speeds, you're doing a pump and off and then back on the brakes. Try and do one continuous. Oh, whoa, slow down. Okay. That one you turned in too early. You didn't go out far enough. Okay, now look at where you're going.
I did this right last time.
And
Now I'm going to show you my best lap ever, but he knows there's still plenty of grip left. After a couple of 138s, I was now back to the low 137s. The 136 was in range.
There you go, Steve. 137.
I didn't know it, but I was on my fastest lap of the day. I'm pulling almost a G in this corner, and it's really a strain on the muscles. It's corners like this that make me wish I had a proper racing seat, or at least one where I could get in the proper seating position. I turned in too early. I was worried about the curb. I almost went in the fifth. Ooh.